The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. In those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day that Noah entered the ark. They did not know until the flood came and carried them away. So it will be also at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be out in the field. One will be taken, one will be left. 2 women will be grinding at a mill. One will be taken, the other will be left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on which day your Lord will come. Be sure of this, if the master of the house had known the hour of night when the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and not let his house be broken into. So too, you must also be prepared, for at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come." The Gospel of the Lord. A few people here, I won't mention any names, but need to pay attention to St. Paul's reading about drunkenness and promiscuity. But today we remember that it's good to be prepared. I don't know if you all remember Captain Sully Sullenberger. January 15th, 2009, flying a U.S. Air jet into New York City, ran into a flock of geese that knocked out both engines on the jet. Captain Sullenberger miraculously landed that jet on the Hudson River, and all of the passengers got to shore safely because he was prepared. Everyone said it was a miracle, but Sully Sullenberger said he was simply doing what he was trained to do. He actually was a commercial pilot for years, but as a hobby he flew gliders. So when he saw the situation with no engines, he said he had to pretend that that jet was a large glider. He saw that he couldn't land it in the Bronx because of the number of people there. He thought about landing on the expressway, but said there was too much traffic and knew he couldn't take it to another airport. So he decided to fly that large jet like a large glider and glide it down safely onto the Hudson River. Why? Because he was prepared. Advent is a time for us to make sure that we're prepared. The word Advent actually means coming. And we're preparing for 2 different comings. The first 2 weeks of Advent, we hear in our readings that we should be prepared for the end of time because we never know when Christ is going to return. Now, if you're like me, you probably think it's been 2016 years. He's not coming in my lifetime. But we forget that God's time is not like our time. The second 2 weeks of Advent, we'll prepare ourselves to celebrate Christmas when Christ first came to the earth. But I think the best way to prepare for Advent is to ask yourself today, what would you do this month if you knew Jesus was going to return on December 25th? Wouldn't we all treat our lives a little differently if we knew for sure that Jesus was coming back December 25th? Well, that's what Advent calls us to do. The ancient Greeks had 2 words for time. One was chronos, the other was kairos. Chronos is the time we live by, chronological time. Our minutes, our hours, our watches, our calendars. That's chronos, chronological time. But God lives in kairos time. Kairos time means it's a special time. It's a time of opportunity. And Advent calls us to sort of let go of that chronos time and to get into kairos time. To not worry about how many days we have left to shop and how much more we have to do, but to get inside of our spiritual life and to get in that kairos time, that time of opportunity when we can become closer to Christ and know Christ better and be prepared if He were to return December 25th. So Advent is not a good time to press the snooze button on your alarm. As we heard in the readings, it's time to wake up because the time is at hand. And St. Paul gives us 3 ways that we can do that this Advent season. First, he says to pray. We have the Magnificat booklets, even though they're running low. We'll try to get more for you that give a daily reflection for every day of Advent and something to do. That's a great way to get into Advent. There's also some wonderful Christmas novenas that you can find online that you say every day from the Feast of St. Andrew on the 30th of November to Christmas Day. Or maybe make a holy hour in our perpetual adoration chapel. For me, that's the most peaceful place in northern Kentucky to pray, to stop and visit. It's a simple 1, 2, 3, 4 star if you want to get in there and pray. Secondly, St. Paul says that we are to conduct ourselves properly, not to live in darkness, but to move into Christ's light this Advent season. We might start that with the Sacrament of Reconciliation. We'll have a service at St. Pius December 15th for anyone who wants to go, and we have it every week at 3:45 right here in the back of church. But to ask yourself, where do I need to change this Advent season? What can I do to make sure I'm a better person by Christmas Day? And thirdly, St. Paul says to do good works. Throw away the works of darkness. To go out of your way to do something for someone else to make their Christmas a better season. Think about your neighbors, the people in the nursing homes, someone who might be home alone and just needs a visit, but to do good works and to throw away the works of darkness. It is good to be prepared. Captain Sully Sullenberger spent hours preparing for an event that he never expected to happen, but he knew could happen. It's the same for us this Advent. Sure, we don't expect Jesus to come back in the next month, but He could. So Advent is not a good time to hit that snooze button. It's time to make sure you're prepared if He were to return for you.